Bend the knee.
Valor Mongolis, everybody, is Don Willie back again with another edition of Ice and Fire Opinions. And as you can see today, right below me here, I'm talking about the lioness of Lannister, current queen in the show, still queen regent in the books, and one of the most beautiful yet murderous women in all of the Seven Kingdoms. It is Cersei of House Lannister. And, this one was suggested by someone named LL. Probably not LL Cool J, but that would be awesome if he was actually watching my channel. And shout out to everyone who is in the chat room right now. We got Rast, we got Sammy Sam, we got Broke Black Man 94, we got the Boy Wonder, and Ion Trone, and of course my man Frank from Way Off Topic Radio. Frank, holla at me, man. We gotta get up. We haven't got up in a while. So, yeah, Cersei Lannister, one of the most beautiful women in all of the Seven Kingdoms, possibly the world, oh, Katie and Sutherland, what's going on? Oh, and my man, when Debo breaks down the door. You know what? I should move the chat over because it's looking like I'm looking in the wrong place because this thing is, kind of backwards or whatever. But we'll fix that sooner or later. Yeah. And see me here. When I got the sniper hat on, it's about to be some trouble for whatever character is sitting on the screen. So, yeah, you already know what it is. Oh, shout out to my man Ricky Hunt, Hail Hydra. Yeah, we back on the Hydra kick, man. Fuck with all these idiots out there with their marching talking about still Hail Hydra all day. So, yeah, man. So, Cersei Lannister, where do we begin? Now, as someone who checked out the show before I got to the books, look, Lena Headey to me, Lena Headey, I'm sorry, however you pronounce her name, I'm gonna go with Lena Headey. Listen, I've always thought that she was an attractive woman. Loved her in the Sarah Connor Chronicles back when they had those. Unfortunately, I think it only lasted like one season, but I thought she was an awesome Sarah Connor. I loved her as Queen Gorgo in 300, and I thought she was an excellent choice for Cersei Lannister. I had to get used to the blonde hair because I wasn't used to seeing her with blonde hair and all that. But I'm like, all right, cool. So getting into the show, and I'm just like, I like Lena Headey, the actress. Cersei Lannister, I wish someone would throw her from a tower. And it's funny though because like she is one of the few characters that have basically no redeeming qualities about it. Because like especially when you get into the books, in the books you find out that she killed one of her friends, and it's not exactly stated what for. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, all right, well, it almost seems like, I killed him because I had nothing better to do. When she goes to see Maggie the Frog, and we're gonna get into the Valakar prophecy. But like she kills her friend Melara Heatherspoon, throws it down the well, And like the crazy thing about it is like, and I could be misremembering it, but it seems as though like she threw her down the well, and like Melara was still alive, and Cersei knew that she was still alive and kind of just left her there. So that was the crazy thing for me, is just you know, she knew this girl, like, if I'm remembering it correctly, because I haven't went over that particular chapter in a while. Yo, what the oh my god, this is hilarious. That Melara threw herself into the well. Oh man, hey, PYT is in here. What's going on, Ann? Surprised you're actually still awake. So, Cersei, um, ever since she was a child, was for and I normally don't use this word, but she was a bitch. She was straight up and down. There's no other way you can call it. And now the crazy thing, because like, all right, so when Tyrion was born, her mother died giving birth to Tyrion, and I'm trying to remember whether or not the prophecy came. No, the prophecy must have been after Tyrion, because I believe she's like 10 years older than him, and I think she got the prophecy when she was like 12. But this just goes to show you um how much of a sadistic person she was, because she was torturing Tyrion. And like, while most people would say, oh, it's because of the Valonqar prophecy or whatever, like, no, 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 she tortured him before she knew anything about that. This was just like, oh, he's a dwarf. He's a dwarf. He's not a true Lannister. So yeah, man, I don't know, man. Like, I knew mean kids when I was in school. Oh, shout out to AU Pacquiao. You know, there's no segue into that. AU is not a mean guy. And also shout out to Lord of Last Hearth. What up, Tony? Um, so it's one of those things where she is just out and out evil. I mean, she I'm trying to think of what's the thing. Like, she manipulated the whole situation with Jamie, and I'm still trying to figure out like what was the infatuation with her being with Jamie, because from everything that we've read in the books, the whole relationship with her and Jamie was all her idea, and all of her manipulation. Oh, what's happening, Alicia? Shout out to Alicia Kingston. Um, so like, Jamie, look, man, look, we've seen many men fall to ruin, just you know because they, for the love of the thing between a woman's legs. Many men have fallen to ruin over that. Great men, not so great men, and absolute piss poor men have all fallen to ruin, trying to get between a woman's legs. It is what it is. We gotta call it like we see it. It's the truth. And Jamie is absolutely no exception to this whatsoever. So Cersei, again here has decided to torture her little brother. She has manipulated her twin brother, and even though incest at this point, because even though like people knew about the Targaryens, incest was pretty much looked down upon. So I'm still wondering what got it into her head. Like, oh, I want to, sleep with my brother, and not just my brother, my twin brother, who looks, because it said that those two looked so much alike when they were younger that they would dress up in each other's clothes and you wouldn't be able to tell who was who. And I'll be honest with you, I've never actually seen fraternal twins uh on that level that look that much alike. Not male to female fraternal twins. Um because I mean I've known two sets of fraternal twins that I can think of in my life. Um Two were girls, and no, I'm sorry. One set was both girls, and then the other set was a boy and a girl. And the boy and the girl, yeah, they definitely did not look like twins. And the funny thing about those two is, both of them might have been gay. Uh, yeah, I mean, or at least they definitely broke gender norms, especially for the time when I was a adolescent, or whatever may have you. That's neither here nor there. Let's get back to Cersei. So, and let's talk about some of the stuff that she wanted to do for herself. So, and again, sick individual, because not only is she trying to keep Jamie close to her, keep Jamie from getting with anybody else, she also wanted to marry Prince Rhaegar. Like as soon as her pops put that out there, that, oh yeah, I'm gonna try to set up this marriage with you and Rhaegar, it was like, oh, okay, cool. We really got no mention of, okay, well, if I'm gonna marry Rhaegar, what's gonna happen with Jamie? And I don't know if Jamie knew about her wanting to marry Rhaegar. But since she never got to marry Rhaegar and she wound up marrying Robert, and she never wanted to be with Robert, even though in the show, I don't know, in the show they kind of they made it seem as though Robert was. I mean, now mind you, obviously Robert was desirable to a great many women. He got to sleep with a bunch of women, but he wasn't Rhaegar Targaryen. But excuse me. But they made it seem as though Cersei actually wanted him, and in the books it is plain like, nah, Cersei never wanted him. But if he wanted Cersei, she would have tolerated him and maybe even warmed up to his advances at some point. And shout out to Connie Super as well. Um, so it's just kind of interesting that she it's kind of interesting that she has been doing all of this kind of manipulation and thinking that the world does and should revolve around her, and anything that doesn't revolve around her, she's pretty much like, okay, well, yeah, this is a waste of time and a waste of space. Period, point blank. Um. Oh, what is this? Let's see. We have topic radio says my brother and sister are twins, and they looked alike till they were about 8 years old. Interesting. Okay. I mean, you know what? The twins that I knew when I was younger, I only knew them for about 2 years when I was in school. So, like, literally sixth and seventh grade were the only 2 years that I had known those sets of fraternal twins, and they didn't look anything alike. The boy and the girl looked nothing alike, and again, they dressed nothing alike. Nothing about them. Like, you know what? Damn, I wish I could remember their last names because I would look them up on Facebook to see like what they were doing now. Anyway, so um, one crazy thing about Cersei is that Cersei, being the narcissistic person that she is, she is only thinking about how will this further gratify me. Now, unfortunately, they say hurt people, and even with some of the things that she um has experienced, she goes out and kind of revisits them on other people. So, like she said, Robert, would force himself on her. So when she got the chance to do that to Tana Merriweather, she did that. Um, Friendships mean absolutely nothing to her whatsoever, and like it's literally all one sided. And like when she wants to get rid of Braun, which was the craziest thing. So she tells damn, I forgot is Felice? I think Felice Stokeworth. Like, oh yeah, tell your husband to go out and try to make sure that Braun has a hunting accident and dies or whatever. And when that doesn't pan out the way that she was hoping it does, she's like, oh man, you know what, this Braun's stupid. Yeah, you know what, look, I'm gonna holler at my man Kyburn. He gonna take care of you. He's gonna take care of you. Really, really. Kyburn's gonna take care of you. A1, the best thing that could possibly happen for you. Go see Kyburn. Don't worry. You'll stop crying. You'll forget all about everything that's happened after you go see Kyburn. And it's just like, damn. She's giving all these random people to be used by Kyburn in his experiments. She killed a child, killed one of her companions when she was, like 12 years old. She's tortured her little brother and possibly tried to have him killed. And then there's the raising of or rearing of her children. Joffrey was a monster. She pretty much groomed him to be a monster. Um, yeah, she pretty much groomed Joffrey to be a monster. Wow. And Felicia Alana says death to Lyanna Mormont. Okay, not all right. Shout out to Felicia, and also shout out to Shayna's Sapphires. Man, I kind of forgot. Yeah, oh yeah, so she groomed Joffrey to be a monster. So Joffrey, is all about yeah. Joffrey to me, like, and I don't know if any of you guys have read Sons of the Dragon. If you have not, it's a pretty interesting read. It's the newest story from George R. R. Martin. In the interim, as we're waiting for the Winds of Winter, but Joffrey, is kind of like Maegor the Cruel in that the only thing that matters is what makes him happy. And unfortunately, it seems like what made Joffrey happy was making other people suffer. And Cersei definitely fostered that. And in the TV show, because we got a little more with Cersei in terms of giving her things to do because they wanted to flesh out her character more. We get the scene where after um after Joffrey is bitten by uh Nymeria, when they finally get back to King's Landing, and and you're like, oh, I still gotta marry Sansa Stark. I mean, yeah, and all that. And they're like, oh yeah, she's like, yeah, but nah, look, man, don't worry about any of these people because they're not us. Anyone who is not a Lannister is an enemy. And when you have someone who's pumping that kind of poison into your head, especially when, as mentally unstable as Joffrey was to begin with, it's only going to make things worse to constantly hear that kind of absolute bile being spit from somebody's mouth. Oh, shout out to JW Flux. Um, so here we have a situation where there is this person who has one child that she's like, all right, this one is going to be the king, so I'm going to groom him to be the most vicious bastard ever. Tommen, she pretty much gives zero fucks about because she's not expecting Tommen to be king. And then also, you have, damn, why? I'm totally blanking out her name. Marcella. So, and it's not that she doesn't care about Marcella, but it's like her thing is Cersei wants power. So if Joffrey is the one that is going to bring her the most power, then that's who she's putting all her time into. Like, definitely Tommen, it was like, all right, whatever, you know. And Marcella was like, all right, cool, look, I just don't want her to be in the situation that I was. For her, like, when it came to Marcella, her biggest thing is, as long as she doesn't marry somebody like Robert, I'm cool. I'm not going to, sit here and give her the super crazy talks, but, I'm just praying that she doesn't marry somebody like Robert. And I'm glad that Robert's not her dad. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, all right, well, Cersei is just doing whatever she has to hold on to the power that she has at any cost whatsoever. Doesn't matter what it costs other people, though. And we take a look at what she does to Jamie, and like part of the reason why Jamie is part of the King's Guard is because of Cersei. Because when Jamie was left at Casterly Rock, or he was gonna be left at Casterly Rock, excuse me, he was gonna be left at Casterly Rock, and Cersei was gonna live with Tywin at the Red Keep while Tywin was handed the king. And so now Cersei's, again, trying to keep power. For whatever reason, she has this crazy infatuation with Jamie. And so she's like, oh, okay, well, cool. Look, be, get on the King's Guard. There's a spot open in the King's Guard. Get in the King's Guard. And this way, me and you could be at Castle Rock together. And now, mind you, she had already told. Sorry, no, not that she had already told. Tywin had already told her, "I'm gonna get you married to to Rhaegar Targaryen." And so I'm like, okay. She knows she's going to King's Landing. She has this expectation that she is going to be marrying Rhaegar, but yet she tells Jamie get on the King's Guard so they can both be together. And I'm like, oh my god, what kind of disgusting individual are you? Because not only are you talking about you want to sleep with your brother, but you also want to be married to the dude who's supposed to be king and still sleep with your brother at the same time. And yeah, that is. I'm sorry, that is absolutely disgusting. It's already incest, and now you're talking about you want to sleep with both of these dudes. You know, and again, is the incest is the worst part of it though. Because all right, look, I'm not going to sit here with the double standards and say, oh, she wanted to sleep with two men, she's a whore. I'm not going to do that. I would just say that her, having uh this idea that she was going to be uh Rhaegar's queen, and then still wanting to sleep with Jamie. Ah, oh my god. Sorry. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Nothing that can be. There's nothing redeemable about that. And one of the crazy things too was like reading her chapters and just thinking about like when you get inside of her head, how she's thinking how everybody is so stupid. Like she thinks that she is, female Tywin, and when Tywin died, she was like, "Oh, I'm, doing all this stuff. I'm gonna take over Tywin's legacy." She made the stupid negotiation with with the guy who wanted to become like the High Sparrow, who became the new High Septon, brought back the warrior sons and the Faith Militant and all that. And oh my god, like Tywin would have never done anything so stupid. You know, she tries to play the Iron Bank. Tywin knows or knew that the Iron Bank was not to be trifled with. You know, I don't know if Tywin would have let Qyburn stay around. I don't know. One of these days I have to talk about Qyburn. If I haven't already done it, I think I've already done Qyburn. If I haven't, I need to. Qyburn is a sick motherfucker. But it's one of these things where she makes all these crazy moves, and you're like, all right, well, how is it that um how is it that she hasn't been totally knocked off her high horse? Now in the show, because we're almost at the end, we've gotten a lot further than in the books. In the books, right now, she is still awaiting trial by the Faith, whereas in the show, you know, she's playing this chess game with not only the High Sparrow but also Marjorie Tyrell, and she won that game. She won that game in glorious fashion. She pulled um she pulled a Godfather on him, wiped them all out in church, which one of the most awesome intros to any episode of Game of Thrones or even television. I mean, like that whole sequence when she wiped out the Faith and the Tyrells was absolutely awesome. You know, anybody who says otherwise, look, I might not like some of the choices that D&D have made, but there's no way that you could say that the opening for season 6, episode 10 was anything but awesome. And shout out to Sarah Charles under the chat. I'm not even sure how many people we got in. I'm looking at this on whatchamacallit right now on my OBS, so I can't even see how many people are actually in. But um, the back and forth that she had with not only the Tyrells but the Faith, I love the way that it played out because I mean, look, she definitely was in over her head. And she used Qyburn to great effect because Qyburn, now was in control of little birds and found out about the whole thing with wildfire. And obviously the two of them came up with their whole scheme to blow up the sept while the trial was going on. It was like, all right, cool. We got everybody here that we need to gather to get them all out of the way. At least the people who are the immediate threat, get them all right here, right now, get them out of the way. Boom. Literally. Um, and genius plan. Genius plan. And the only person who even had an inkling that that was what, was going to happen, that something was going to go down, was Marjorie. And in the arrogance of the High Septon, High Sparrow, he was like, oh, come on, no. I've broken Cersei. I made her do the walk of shame. Uh, now we're good. She's gonna come here. She's going to answer to the gods. Yeah. Mm. She ever answers the gods. her answer was a big green middle finger. Big green flaming middle finger. That was her answer, that she had for the gods. And let's talk about the walk of shame real quick, because the walk of shame, for one, very harrowing scene in the books and the show. Now, obviously in the books we got to use our imagination a little bit. In the books, there's a lot more taunting because in the book version of the walk of shame, it's not Septa Unella, just with the bell, shame, 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 looking all extra stone faced. But we get a lot more dialogue from the people of King's Landing, the plebs, the peasants, the serfs. And it's like, for as much as we hear about how beautiful Cersei is, from the nobles and the high lords, etc., most of the people are like, "Oh, that's a queen." Ah, look, she like they're talking about she's got stretch marks. They're like, "Oh, her breasts are kind of saggy." Like, oh man, I hope I don't look like that when I'm her age. You're like, yo, how old is she? They're talking all kinds of craziness, and it's one of those things where she she now is thinking to herself, oh man, have these people been manipulating me all this time, but she's telling me how beautiful I am? Because I think somebody's saying that she looks bloated, and I think she does make a comment that she makes a comment that like we hear about her gaining weight, because she does make a comment about like one of her dresses not fitting the way it used to or something like that. And and she's saying like, oh, you got to tighten the corset, and the person's like, oh, your grace, I'm trying but it's not working, or something like that. There's a scene where it does talk about how she has gained weight, but I think she hasn't figured out how much weight she's actually gained until the walk of shame. And now seeing it in the show, it was crazy because you had people spitting I mean, and I'm just like, oh man, I don't know what kind of bonus money they had to give to Lena Headey to let, because there was one where someone came and just, you know, took, hocked a loogie all in her, like all on the side of her face. And I'm just like, yo, how much did they? How many extra zeros in the check that they have to pay for that scene alone? Somebody is spitting in your face. Oh my god! And I'm like, oh man, I wouldn't be able to do that, man. I mean, but then and just to see the walk that she had to take. I mean, yeah, that should look like it was like 10 miles or something like that, man. Like from the Great Sept of Baelor to the Red Keep, yo, that should look like it was forever long. Like you see, you know, the Sept like over here. She's standing at the Sept, and then she's like gotta go all the way over here to the back, to where the Red Keep is. And by the time she gets there, her feet are bleeding. And Qyburn was like, "Hey, look, meet the newest member of the King's Guard." Now, one thing they kind of messed up with, with that whole thing is they decided to keep him as Gregor and not call him Robert Strong. Which I guess they were like, well, since we're doing the no trial by combat thing, it's not going to matter. And, after the whole thing of taking away trial by combat, it almost seemed as though she had no recourse. But again, she came up with that genius plan, which was excellent recourse for that. Now, when it comes to season 7 of Game of Thrones, she is in a position where she is the queen, well, not necessarily uncontested, but she is Cersei of House Lannister, first of her name, rightful queen of the Andals and the First Men, because they don't talk about the Rhoynar. Yeah, protected the realm, etc., etc. So they gave her this awesome. Yo, listen, that is awesome. That is awesome what they gave her. That outfit, that the crown, the gown, all that stuff, awesome. Can't be denied. The thing I wish they would have done, and maybe it might be because of her fetish with power and her thinking to herself, okay, well, people don't see me as powerful enough because I'm not a man. It could be one of those things where she's like, all right, well, I want to be seen as powerful as a man, so I'm keeping this more masculine style haircut because, if she's pregnant, and it seems like it's been a while. It seems like it's been months, and yet she's still rocking the Caesar. So I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know if that was it's supposed to be a stylistic choice in terms of, I'm the queen, but I want to be seen as more tough, masculine kind of thing, or if it's just like, all right, well, you know what, cool, yeah, just leave it with the short hair, just cause. Oh, shout out to Joe Swag. I didn't even see you come in, man. Um, so that's one of the things, small minor thing. I'm like, I wish they would have gave it the long hair. Cersei with the long hair was awesome. I loved it with the long hair. It would have been cool to see with the long hair again. But another thing that was super sadistic scene from Cersei that I love was her torturing Septa Unella. Where she's and they never explain how Septa Unella got into the dungeon. I don't care. I don't care because the scene was awesome. She, pours the wine on her and was like, I'm gonna, make sure that you stay here. And the last thing you're gonna, like I told you, last thing you will see is my face before, before you die. And she's like, God, I'm ready to meet my God. You're like, what? No, you're not gonna die now. No, no, no. You gotta suffer first. At the hands of Sir Gregor. you know. So yeah, that was kind of crazy. We haven't seen something another since. And when Euron comes and proposes to her and all that, 'cause she actually sends for Euron and is like, okay, well, yeah, come here and we'll talk about how we're gonna form this alliance. Um, Now obviously she is playing Euron. She has no intention of marrying Euron. She has absolutely no intention of trying to make him king of seven kingdoms. She's the queen. That's what she's always wanted to be, and she still wants to sleep with Jamie. And she at this point she doesn't even care if anyone knows. It's just like, yo, fuck it, don't care. Sleeping with Jamie. It is what it is. And Jamie, the father of my baby, and that's gonna be crazy shit. Obviously, we know that the baby has to die. Now, whether or not she has a miscarriage, whether or not the baby dies with her before she even, before she is even able to give birth, or if her and the baby die in childbirth, look, we know that she has to die. Now, here's the thing, though. So in the book, part of the whole prophecy that she got from Maggie the Frog, because in the show it shows part of the prophecy. The only part of that it shows is like the two first parts where it says that she's going to marry the king, she's going to have 3 kids, king is going to have however many teen of kids, and then that's where the show cuts it off. In the book, there's an extra part to it where, where like after it says that all the kids are gonna die, and basically she's gonna see all the kids die, is that the Valonqar is going to wrap his hands around your pale white throat, choke the life out of you. Now, there are a multitude of theories. The most prevalent theory is that it is going to be either Jamie or Tyrion that is going to kill her, and she has believed that Tyrion is definitely going to be the one to kill her ever since she first heard that, which is part of the reason why she's had this antagonistic relationship with Tyrion, because she's heard this prophecy, and it's been in the back of her mind for the past like 20 something or more years, and thinking like, okay, yeah, he is going to kill me, or at least this is what this wood switch told me. And she didn't believe that it was possibly real until Joffrey died. Once Joffrey died, it was like, holy shit, okay. And she really believed that Tyrion was the one that killed Joffrey. And at this point, in the show, she doesn't even care, that it wasn't Tyrion that killed Joffrey, because it's like, well, I've hated you for all these years. I'm not going to stop hating you now. Fair enough. It's stupid, but fair enough. And let's see, I'm not to remember that question, Sammy. Um, so the most prevalent theories are either Tyrion or Jamie. Tony Teflon, my man, he's put out the theory that it will be Euron. He's done a few videos on this. So If you want to, check out any theories about who will kill Cersei, check out Tony Teflon for one of those. He's laid out some very compelling arguments for that one. Felicia, what's funny? I actually, she asked me, for those of you who may watch this later and may not be able to see the question. Felicia is asking who will fight for the faith. Oh, who's going to fight for the faith versus tribal combat? I think I might have answered that one in that video. I'm going to get the questions in about like 5 minutes. So if I don't remember that one, just ask it in a few minutes again. I just want to finish off my final thoughts on Cersei. Just my final line of thinking on where things will end up for her. So, look, I think definitely for the show, because they're gonna want things to be spectacular. They're gonna want all the deaths to be spectacular. I'm thinking that it's probably gonna be a thing where they're gonna have Euron turn the Golden Company against Cersei somehow, because look, I don't think you give Euron an army just to hand that army over to Cersei. So I'm thinking that Euron uses the Golden Company to kill Cersei at some point. And we're probably gonna find out that yeah, man, that Euron. We're probably gonna find out that Euron has like a crazy stash of money, and he paid the Golden Company himself, and he didn't pay with the Iron Bank's money, or something like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. On let's see, I'm trying to think. Yeah, because you know what, Jon Snow killing her or Daenerys killing her, it just wouldn't be as satisfying. Um, I know people probably thinking Arya because Cersei was still number one on the list, I believe. Cersei is probably the last name on the list. So it could also be Arya. I mean, all right. So, I don't know. I mean, I've been hearing rumors about the Faceless Men possibly coming back, and who knows? Maybe it's a thing where someone took out a contract on Cersei Lannister. Maybe Euron. I'm telling you, I bet you Euron somehow is going to be involved with the death of Cersei. If he doesn't kill her directly, he's going to be the person who hired someone to kill Cersei. Whether it's that he had the Golden Company come in on his behalf and kill Cersei, whether it's something like the Faceless Men, we have Jack and Hagar comes to Arya and is like, hey, I know you wanted to wipe this name off your list, and now we can make it legit because, you were once a Faceless Man, and the Faceless Men have been hired to kill Cersei. So you can kill Cersei, and it'll be all good. The Faceless Men will consider this, a favor to the many-faced god or something like that. So that's what I see happening for her for the show. For the books, I mean, look, she obviously has to be choked out. Who is going to kill her by choking her to death? For the longest, I was thinking Jaime, right? But then the more and more I think about it, is like, Valonqar will wrap his hands, which means two hands. Jaime only has one. It does not seem as though there's going to be some magic to bring back Jaime's sword hand. I think that, as much as George dives into magic, that is one place where it seems like he does not do. Because I thought at some point that we would have seen some kind of spell where Jamie's golden hand gets turned real. But no, he's not doing that much of a deep dive into the whole magic thing, at least, from what we can see. Tyrion, way too obvious. That's the one that she's expecting to kill her, which means anytime this is the person that is expected to kill that person, that's not the person that's going to do it. Like I said, Tony Teflon has made a very interesting case for Euron. So, I don't know, man. I personally want to say Jamie. Because Jamie and Cersei both believe that they're meant to die together. So I think it would be poetic if you had Cersei stab Jamie, and as she's stabbing Jamie, Jamie chokes her to death. And when he finally finishes killing her, he falls over and dies from the stab wound. But that's just me. We'll have to see what's up with that. Hey, what's going on, Cat? All right. Okay. So let's get to the questions. I know that you guys are going to be seeing this in a couple of seconds. But all right. So I had two questions earlier. So I think Sammy Sand. I do think I answered the question of who will kill Cersei in the books versus the show. But Felicia's question. I don't know why that was at least Felicia's question. Of who will fight for the faith in Cersei's trial by combat. Well, see, here's the thing, right? If we're going, see, not sure how true the show is, right? So, if the show is any indication, then Cersei won't have a trial by combat, which is kind of crazy because, like, yeah, George is the guy who breaks tropes. He doesn't have things that constantly repeat themselves. We've already seen 2 trials by combat for Tyrion. And so that would be crazy to see one for Cersei as well. But we need to see a trial of 7. There's got to be a trial by 7 in there. Like, you got the faith. They're all about the 7. So they got to have a trial by 7. Like, I don't see how you could do it any other way. To abolish trial by combat, I think would be a disservice to the readers, and especially because there's still a lot of readers who have only read the main series and haven't read things like Sons of the Dragon or the Dunk and Egg, Tales of Dunk and Egg, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So for those people, I think you have to put a trial by 7 into the main series. Because I just think that would be awesome. Uh, Now who the seven would be? That is the man. All right, so crazy. All right, I'm going to choose a crazy seven. I'm gonna choose a super crazy seven. Lancel Lannister or Brother Lancel now, because he gave up the name once he became a Sparrow. Um, the Kettle Blacks, both the brothers Kettle Black, because they are now they should no longer be part of the King's Guard if they've been accused by the Seven, right? They want the redemption. So I would imagine that those two, would have to somehow fight for their freedom. That's already three. Um, let's see who else. Who else? Who else? For the faith, we need four more. Sabrina the Blackwater. I'm just naming names now. Sabrina the Blackwater, because because she's already tried to kill Bronn. So I need three more now. Um, shit. Jalabar Zoe. Because he wants to, listen, man, he wants to get back to the Summer Isles. He wants to get back to the Summer Isles any way he can. He's not trying to die, imprisoned by the faith. Um, I need two more, right? I need two more to complete this. The last one I want to be, because I got my number seven. I want that one to kind of be a surprise. So, man. All right, so let's go over who I got so far. I got Lancel. I got two Cattle Blacks. I got Jalabar Zoe. I got Bronn. I was gonna say some rando because I can't think of her name right now. And number seven, Soloris Tyrell. Yeah, Soloris Tyrell. Number seven. I was gonna I was trying to think like who could be number six. Loris Tyrell was actually the first name that came to mind. I was like, oh, they're gonna find out that he wasn't really burned. It was all a ploy back to fight for the faith, to not only to prove the guilt of the evil Cersei Lannister, but also to fight for the innocence of his sister Marjorie Tyrell. So I can see that happen. I can definitely see that happen. Um. All right. So that's what I'm thinking. Fights for the faith. All right. So next question from Set the Set. Damn. Too many S's, man. Too many damn S's. Next question from Septa Shayna Sapphires. Does the fact that Brienne does not have her not damn excuse me. Does the fact that Brienne does not have her sword after Renly falls in her tent indicate that she stabbed him? Well, here's the thing. Like you got to think about the situation here. These people are not used to dealing with magic whatsoever, right? Brienne, they know, was in the king's tent. That king being Renly. They see Renly on the floor, Renly dead. And then Brienne winds up fighting off a couple of guards and then running away. So, because it's such a quick thing, you're also talking about right before, like, this is while they're preparing for battle with Stannis. You know, so it's just one of those things where they're not um they're not leaving that much up to chance in terms of like, how do we look at this situation. um does it look as though Brienne actually killed him? It's something that happened so quick that it's not given time to investigate. And remember, you're talking about a time where people didn't need as much evidence to convict you of a crime. It was kind of a thing of, oh, okay, well, this pretty much looks like an open and shut case. Execute him. Yeah, they might have a trial, but it just pretty much looks like an open and shut case. So it's like, why would we even try to entertain that there was anything else that happened here? You were the person in Renly's tent. Renly is now dead, and there was no one else there that had a weapon. It must have been you. So, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. That they were thinking about in terms of that. And you see how long Loras was holding the grudge over that. You know, it's funny though, because in the show, Loras really didn't hold a grudge against Brienne. You know, in the books, he definitely held a grudge against Brienne, and when Brienne shows up in the capital with Jaime, Loras, like, it takes Jaime a couple of times talking to Loras for him to even think about to even think that there might have been something different. Pardon me. One second, folks. Got to refill my drink. Arizona time, because I'm just in love with Arizona iced tea for some reason. Even though Arizona iced tea is absolutely no good for anybody. All right, let's get back to the question. All right, so from when Debo breaks down the door, do you think? Sorry, do you even think Jaime will survive the sword incident in the Riverlands? Yes, I think that Brienne will sacrifice herself for Jaime in order to prove to Catelyn, Lady Stoneheart, Mother Merciless, and the rest of the Brotherhood Without Banners that Jaime not only had nothing to do with the Red Wedding, but that Jaime is not the same person that he was before he got his hand chopped off, and that he is absolutely redeemable. So yes, I do think he will survive that incident. And shout out to Professor Silly Cogsworth. No, see, I'm sorry. I'm totally messing up the name. Sorry about that. Damn it, Professor Cogsworth. Sorry, I can't get the first thing right. I'm totally screwed that up. Sorry about that. My bad. All right. So next question from Way of Topic Radio: will a faceless man kill Euron and Bravos when he goes to get the golden thing? Nah, I doubt it. Uh, because look, like no, they haven't done that in the show, right? But in the books, he paid him a dragon egg. At least we think he paid him a dragon egg to kill his brother. He killed his own brother in the show, but yeah, it's one of those things where I'm thinking that everything is going to be on the up and up. The faceless men, remember, faceless men have to be paid to kill somebody. They have to have, that is their motivation. They have to have a reason to kill. So unless someone is paying the faceless men to kill Euron, nah, he's fine. He ain't going nowhere. But very interesting question. All right, so Felicia was saying that Loras is Kingsguard, so he has to fight for Cersei. I mean, look, people have been dismissed from the Kingsguard before, though, right? We've seen Barristan dismissed from the Kingsguard. In the show, we've seen Jaime dismissed from the Kingsguard. It could be a thing where the faith, because look, Cersei is pretty much given the faith power over stuff having to do with the crown. Um, so it could be either that they dismiss Loras from the Kingsguard, or it could be special dispensation to somehow prove the innocence or the guilt of Cersei. We see all kinds of stuff. So we'll see what happens. Let's see. Shout out to TSX Christina, I guess. All right. Let's see here. Next from Ricky Hunt. Do you think Cersei can be the pale woman beside Euron in Aaron Dampier's visions? Um, could be. It's either gonna be her or Melisandre, right? Now the we've heard about the blue Melisandre figure that George R. R. Martin had made. It's a special Melisandre figure. Instead of her being red, she's in blue and kind of pale, looking more like the Night Queen, the White Walker Queen from the Night's King legend. So it could be that, could be Melisandre, or could be Cersei. I mean, Cersei is said to be tall. But see, here's the thing. I mean, like, did I think it did describe the person as being tall and slender. Um, I don't think she is as slender now, but who knows what could happen. But also remember that this was a hallucination by Aaron Dampier while he was, while he was made to drink Shady of the Evening. So it's kind of a loose interpretation of what is actually happening. Because we also see Euron kind of turn into Cthulhu as well a little bit. But yeah, Cersei could be that person, and again, I'm bringing up Tony Teflon because Tony Teflon does a lot on this, so could be that it could definitely be that she is that person. I can see that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens though. All right, so let's go to the next question here from when Debo breaks down the door. It's like, please explain the Iron Bank and Golden Company because they sound like a bunch of gangsters or mafia. So the Iron Bank is kind of analogous to classical Renaissance Italian banking system, and also a little bit of the Knights Templar Bank as well. And basically, the whole thing is you gonna pay. You are going to pay us. If we give you some money, you are going to pay that money back. If not, they either finance your enemies or they hire the faceless men to come and kill you. The Golden Company. Now, the Golden Company, I'm not sure how they plan on doing them in the show. Now, obviously, we do hear mention of the Golden Company. The Golden Company will be showing up in season 8, but the Golden Company in the books, totally different affair. So the book Golden Company is essentially exiled descendants. Descendants of exiles who become a sellsword company. So for those of you who have not read the books, the Golden Company was founded by a Targaryen bastard named Aegor Rivers, also known as Bittersteel. And he was the bitter rival of Bloodraven, Three-Eyed Crow, the guy who was teaching Bran Stark how to use his ability and to become the next Green Seer and fight off the White Walkers and all that. Now, how the Golden Company got founded was during the reign of King Darren II, also known as Darren the Good. There was a rebellion because of a younger brother who's named Daemon Blackfyre. Now, Daemon Blackfyre was knighted by Aegon IV, also known as Aegon the Unworthy. He was given the Conqueror's Valyrian Steel Sword, the King's Sword, known as Blackfyre, and he decided to well, after some pushing by not only Aegor Rivers, but excuse me, but not only Aegor Rivers, but also a few other lords to take the throne, because at this time Dorne had literally just come into the realm. And so a lot of people were still kind of mad at that. They felt that Darren was not a strong king, and they felt that Daemon Blackfyre would be a better ruler on the Iron Throne. So you had nearly half the realm who took up the Blackfyre cause. Largely due to the alliance with Dorne and also strategic moves made by Bloodraven, the Blackfyres were defeated, and those who were not either killed in battle or later sent to the wall they followed Aegor rivers across the narrow sea to Essos and founded a sellsword company called the Golden Company. And the Golden Company is the most successful sellsword company in all of the world, pretty much. And they have never broken a contract. And if you can get them to fight for you, pretty much, when other people show up, they're just gonna be like, "Oh shit, the Golden Company's here now. We're good. You got it." Golden Company really doesn't have to fight because their reputation sees them. And so now uh, the current iteration of the Golden Company is made up of the descendants of those original exiles, plus other people who have come in along the way. So that is what we have for the Golden Company. Again, I'm not sure exactly how they're gonna do it in the show. And my man Tony from Lord of the Last Harp is telling me that they have actually cast one of the characters from the book, known as Harry Strickland, also known as Homeless Harry, and from House Strickland. House Strickland, if you look for them in any of the wiki of Ice and Fire or anything, it's gonna be exile houses or whatever. That's where we get that from. And here I go with the long-winded answers again. I promise I will stop doing that. But I like explaining things though, so please forgive me in the name of the seven. Right? Anyway, so next up from Professor Cogsworth. Shall we have Clegane Bowl, or shall the mountain end up killing Qyburn in revenge for his Dr. Frankenstein atrocities? No, I think we will have Clegane Bowl. I think it is not only destined for the books, but also destined for the show. I mean, it's one of those things where you have them heavily foreshadowing the Clegane Bowl for the show. I mean, something super heavy. When the Hound steps up to the mountain and is like, what's coming for you. We've always been coming. All that. So, obviously they're set up to fight for the end. Now, my interpretation of what I think is going to happen in the books for Clegane Bowl is at some point, the Hound is going to leave the Quiet Isle. He is going to be somewhere along King's Road. Cersei is going to be on her way to Casterly Rock with her bodyguard, Sir Robert Strong. They're going to run into the Hound. Gonna want to be in a fight, and who knows? Maybe the Hound and the Mountain wind up taking out each other. That's the part I'm not 100% sure on, but I'm gonna say I'm about 99% sure we're getting Clegane Bowl. And yeah, forgive me if my voice sounds like super parched. Still getting over this damn cold. So please forgive me if I'm kind of stumbling over my words. They're literally getting caught in my throat. All right, so next up from Angel Reed. Oh, Angel, what's going on, man? I haven't seen you in a while. Do you think Renly would have been a good king compared to Stannis? Okay, so here's the thing. Renly was a status quo kind of guy. Renly was the guy that wanted things to run smoothly. He wasn't looking to really shake things up. Renly was the guy who wanted to be popular. He wanted to be liked. So Renly is more of on the outside. on the artifice of it all, Renly would have been your classic fairy tale king in terms of, oh, he's handsome, he's got the beautiful wife, he wears all the fine robes, he throws lavish parties and all that other stuff. Renly probably would have bankrupted the shit out of the realm though, because he probably still would have had Littlefinger as his master of coin. He would have been like, oh well, I want to be remembered as a better king than Robert, so I got to throw even bigger tournaments and all that. Um, oh, Eris had the idea of building a wall 100 miles north of where the current wall is. Let's go do that. Renly's that kind of guy. So, like, if you were talking about classic fairy tale fantasy stuff, Renly would have been a good king in that realm. In the realm of Song of Ice and Fire, he would have been horrible, at least financially. On the surface, the people, the popularity, and all that stuff, yeah, he would have been great for that. But once the finances would have, once the financial situation would have crumbled, oh, they would have been calling for Renly's head. Renly would have been like Louis the 14th. Like they would have executed him and Marjorie Tyrell in the streets. So it would have been the end of the Baratheon dynasty, and you would have had and Peter Baelish definitely would have become the new king of Westeros if Renly were to be king. Baelish would have stole the throne right from under him, and everyone would have blamed Renly for the financial crisis caused by Peter Baelish. So, all right. So next up from Felicia Ilana, who would win in a death battle between Victorian Greyjoy with a trident, the Hound with a baseball bat? So here's the thing, right? So you're talking about Victorian Greyjoy. Now, I'm wondering, are we talking about Fire Fist? Smoking Hand. Are we talking about Smoking Hand, Victorian Greyjoy? I mean, because you're talking about a trident versus a baseball bat. Look, all right, so we got to up it a little bit because we can't just give the Hound a regular baseball bat. We got to give him Negan's bat with the barbed wire bat. Because I mean, if you're talking about a regular baseball bat, it's just wood. Trident's got the metal prongs and all that. Now we got to up it a little bit. So the Hound with Negan's bat, Lucille, versus Victorian, and we'll say with Aquaman's trident. Except he doesn't know how to use it to command water or do any kind of blasting or anything like that. So I'm gonna say that this is a tough one, but I'm trying to play this out of my mind right now. It's a really, good question. Um, man, I'm gonna, I'm gonna go Victorian with that particular because for one, the trident is gonna have the reach over the baseball bat. Two, I think Victorian might be just a tad bit quicker. And three, depending on what kind of armor they have on, I think Victorian might have just the slight edge when it comes to the kind of armor that he wears. So, while I think the Victorian's coming out of it battered and bruised, I think he edges out the Hound by just that. But great question, great question. All right, so next up from Leslie Powell. What do you think of the theory of the Night King making it to King's Landing and attempting to make Cersei the Night Queen? Um, huh. I mean, I could see that. I mean, it's a cool theory. But I think that Cersei, yeah, I think Cersei isn't going to make it to see the White Walkers at all. Yeah, I don't think she makes it to see the White Walkers. I think that she winds up dying before that. Yeah, I'm gonna say she winds up dying before that. But it is an interesting theory. But yeah, I think she winds up dying before that. All right, next up from Ricky Hunt. Who is your favorite uncasted character? Let's see. So, favorite character who's never been in the show. Um, Man, there's a couple of them. I mean, Victorian is one. A lot of people don't like Victorian, but I think Victorian is absolutely hilarious. Um, who else? Who else? John Connington. I thought John Connington would have been a great addition to the show. To add another perspective on Rhaegar. Um, let's see. Another character who never. Peter Baelish. I would love to see Peter Baelish in the show. I think he is a phenomenal character in the book, so I think it would have been excellent to actually see him on screen. Varys the Spider. Varys is such a pivotal part in the story, and the fact that we didn't get to see Varys, with his little bird action and all that, I think that was actually a travesty in my eyes. Um, uh, yeah, I don't know. What's up to see in the show that they never cast? Arian Martell, Doran Martell, Edric Storm, Stannis Baratheon. I mean, there's a number of characters, that I wish we would have. Wyman Manderly, you know. There's a lot of characters that I wish they would have cast that they didn't. I can't. It's too hard for me to pick one. All right, so next up, also from Ricky, how does Qyburn's story end? Um, how does Qyburn's story end? It ends with him dying a very, very horrible death for the things that he has done. Yes, he has tried to further science, but I think he will do something that will definitely come back to haunt him. Whether, because I mean, like, yeah, the question was asked earlier: will it be the mountain that comes back to kill him for revenge? I don't think it'll be the mountain, but I do think it might have something to do with all the women that he's mutilated. Uh, I think it will have something to do with all the women he's mutilated that will come back to be his final undoing. And it'll be fitting. Like you don't do that to numerous people and expect to walk away scot free. So, as brilliant as Qyburn is, fuck Qyburn. All right. Let's see here from Sarah Charles. Maybe the Hound fights for the faith in trial by combat. See, here's the only reason why I would vote against the Hound being that is that the Hound is a little too far away. He's in the Riverlands, Quiet Isle, so to call him up for the trial by combat, they probably would have already had to call him for that. He's a little too far away for that. And plus, still got brigands out there. You got the Brotherhood Without Banners who does not believe in the Fifth of the Seven at all. So it's not like he's just going to be able to walk through the Riverlands, and if he gets set upon by the Brotherhood Without Banners, the moment that he's like, "Oh, I'm going for the fight for faith," oh, not R'hllor, so we don't care. Get him, boys. All right, so for way off topic radio, will Cersei make it out alive by the end of the story? Let me think on this one. No. Next question from Angel Reed. Do you think Robb Stark's death could have been prevented? Also, did Robb's girlfriend die in the books too? Okay, so based on what Robb Stark did, the moves that he made, it could not have been prevented with the moves that he made. The only way it would have been prevented, and this is still a maybe, is him marrying one of Walder Frey's daughters or granddaughters. That was the only way for him. And then also the fact that he killed Rickard Stark instead of doing what most people would have done, which is hold him for ransom. Like, hey, look, I got your Lord Rickard held for hostage here. He committed treason. Look, this you guys fight with me to the end of the war, and then we'll decide what we do with him after, whether or not we send him to the wall or execute him. But for right now, that motherfucker locked up. So in the books, though, his wife is not dead. There's a theory going around that she has been swapped for another woman, and that everyone is thinking that she's on her way to Casterly Rock right now. She may or may not be, depending on whether this theory is real, because there is one description of her in the Storm of Swords, and there is a different description of her in A Feast for Crows. And so, because of the discrepancy in descriptions, and it's mainly based off her hips to waist kind of ratio, where in one section she is described as having kind of very robust hips for bearing children, and in another passage she is described as being very thin in the hip area. So it's led many to believe that it is not the same person. George R. R. Martin just said, like, nah, I kind of messed up with that one, but who knows? We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what it is for that one, unfortunately. Ricky Hunt says we got Victoria in episode 2 of season 7. Yeah, kind of, JW Flux, going back to the whole battle thing, is asking what if Victorian use a hockey stick. I mean, all right. So if you're talking about Victorian with a hockey stick versus the Hound with, all right. So since the hockey stick is not spiked, we're gonna give the Hound a regular baseball bat. I think the Hound beats the shit out of Victorian if it's hockey stick versus baseball bat in that particular instance. All right, so from when Debo breaks down the door, asks, all right, since we're doing who will win, how about let's see, tactical battles? Tywin versus Aegon the Fifth. No dragons. Aegon the Fifth didn't have any dragons, and honestly speaking, I'm like, See, here's the thing: we don't know much about Aegon the Fifth in terms of any military stuff because it's still going through the whole thing of what do you call it? Damn it, what do you call that shit? The Duncan Tales of Duncan Egg. So there's still a lot that we don't know in terms of any wars that Aegon the Fifth, unless that wasn't the Aegon you were talking about. If you're talking about Aegon the First, then please just do me that solid and retype that question because right now I'm reading it as Aegon the Fifth. Aegon the Fifth did not have any dragons whatsoever, and I don't know anything about him with him being in war. All right, next up for Ricky Hunt. Do you think Edric Dane was meant to be the Sword of the Morning originally? With a 5-year gap, he would have been 18, old enough to wield Dawn. Okay, so here's the thing. So I made a video a while ago about why I thought that Darkstar was was like said to be the most dangerous man by Doran Martell. I think that there is no current Sword of the Morning, because I don't think that Arthur Dane is dead, and that might come as a shock to hear me say that. But think about this, right? George, and you guys can look this up for yourself. I don't have the links on me right now because I didn't know this was going to be a question. But George himself has said that Ned's fever dream is an absolute unreliable narration of the events that happened at the Tower of Joy. And then also another thing that is to be taken into account is the words that are used for the fight sequence. And remember, George R. R. Martin is very particular and meticulous about the words that he uses because he wants to lead you down a certain path. Now, one of the things I say is that, like, if you read the passage, it doesn't say that Ned killed Arthur Dane. It doesn't say that anyone killed Arthur Dane. It says, if it wasn't for Howland Reed, Arthur Dane would have killed me. That's all it says. It doesn't necessarily say that Arthur Dane was killed. And so I'm like, okay. And then also there's the whole thing of when it talks about Lyanna and the bed of blood or whatever. Now, supposedly the only person to make it out alive out of that battle, other than Ed, was supposed to be Howland Reed. But it says when they found him next to Lyanna, she was in a bed of blood. I'm like, who's the they? It shouldn't have been a they. I mean, because anyone else who was at the Tower of Joy would have already been in there. So it was like, yo, no, you just need some. It should have only been one person to come in there. So, I have a feeling that Arthur Dane is still alive, but yet he is somehow incapacitated, or otherwise unable to. He is somehow unable to fulfill his duty properly, but because he was such a great knight, you're like, all right, well, look, as long as you're alive, we're not going to take his title away from you. So I think that's probably, to me, that's the reason why Arthur Dane, I mean, not why Arthur Dane, but why Edric Dane and also Darkstar have not been given the title Sword of the Morning. But it could be totally tinfoil. It could be 100% tinfoil. And speaking of Darkstar, Felicia asked, "You think Darkstar will die in the Winds of Winter?" Um, yeah. Look, here's the thing. Right now, everyone believes that he tried to kill Marcella. Right now, Preston Jacobs seen a video where he says that he believes it was someone else. I don't remember who he says was the other person that he thinks might have tried to kill Marcella, but he definitely believes that it is someone else who tried to kill Marcella. Could be, could definitely be. Um, but the point is that everyone currently believes that he tried to kill Marcella. And right now you have Arya Hota, who is hunting down Arya Hota, and also who else is it? Arya Hota, and I believe it's somebody from the Kingsguard. Because it's been a while since I read that whole thing. But yeah, right now he's being hunted down by Arya Hota, and I believe a Kingsguard knight, and maybe a couple other people. So yeah, and it's not known whether or not he's going to Starfall or High Hermitage, which is where he's from. 'Cause he's not from Starfall. He's a Dane from a cadet branch. That's a crazy thing. I'm like, yo, man. See, I need to like read up on like feudal societies and all that stuff. Figure out how all this stuff happens. In terms of in terms of shit, in terms of just like how the whole systems were set up, because it's like, all right, well, how is it that the nobilities, the noble families seem very, very small, like super small. In terms of like, it seems like they could be wiped out within like one generation of. That's the crazy thing. Oh, shout out to Leslie Powell. See you later. Have a good night. All right. Let's get back to the questions real quick. So okay, so apparently, all right. So it's Obara San, Balon Swan, and God damn it, Arya Hota. So Arya Hota, Balon Swan, and Obara San that are going to look for Darkstar. He's a dead man. With the three of yeah, with the three of them, he's a dead man. Ooh, oh my God, yeah. I don't, because I mean, like, even if you want to say, let's say he takes up Balon Swan, yo, I doubt he's going to take out Arya Hota and Obara San. Look, we've already seen Arya Hota like open up one of the other Kingsguard like he was nothing. So yeah, I have, and listen, it's a done deal for Darkstar. Darkstar's a wrap. All right, so back to when Devo breaks down the doors question about who will win. So it's Aegon the First he's talking about. Um, uh, Ion Throne. Wow, you got the wildest comments of all time. Um, let's see here. All right, so Ion Throne is just straight wild. So all right, Aegon the First versus Tywin Lannister. Who wins in terms of strategy, no dragons. Um, Aegon the First versus Tywin Lannister. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Tywin because look, if you're talking about Aegon, no dragons versus Tywin Lannister is the most ruthless military commander possible. Um, and and you gotta think about it. He was strategic enough to get basically the entire Stark army knocked off and have somebody else do it for him. So yeah, man. Nah, I gotta give it up to Tywin on that one. I think Tywin would definitely, if Tywin were around during that time, Field of Fire and all that. Um, Tywin would have surrendered to Aegon during, during the War of Conquest. But if you're talking about Aegon trying to conquer the Seven Kingdoms with no dragons, Tywin's on the field, yo, it's a wrap for Aegon. It's a wrap. And then after that, Tywin would sail the Dragonstone and kill everybody in Dragonstone just because. All right, so next question from Angel Reed. Do you think Sansa will ever betray Jon Snow, overruling Winterfell? Nah, I mean, because I don't think she'll have to. You know, I don't think she'll have to. I think that by the end of it, she will rule Winterfell, and like she'll realize that things aren't some kind of fairy tale, but she's gonna wind up ruling it in her own right, and she won't have to betray Jon for it. Now the crazy thing I'm thinking, because we know how much Jon likes redheads, I think that once it's found out who Jon actually is, Sansa might actually try to seduce him. That's just me. But I'm thinking Sansa might actually try to seduce him once she finds out who Jon really is. And that would be even more fucked up because it's like, yo, you didn't like this dude for all these years. You thought he was your half brother, and you never liked him. But now you find out he's half Targaryen and you want to be queen. Like, hey, Jon, heard you like redhead, Jon. Look at this nice auburn hair. Think about the red-headed children you could have, Jon. Oh, man. Okay, so for Ricky Hunt, do you think Orain Waters lied about what happened on Dragonstone to Cersei? I mean, see, here's the thing, right? I don't know that Orain Waters lied so much as he was lied to, because if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he actually saw what happened to Loras. Now, I could be wrong on that one. It could be that he did see what happened firsthand, but I don't think he actually. I think his reporting back is all of what he heard happened with Loras, and what he's been told in order to give false information to Cersei. So I don't think he lied um so much as it's a thing of um excuse me. Yeah, I don't think he lied so much as it's a thing of shit. Why am my mind go blank? Yeah. You have the Tyrells who want to spread this information, or someone, you got the Tyrells, but also what you call it, Varys, who wants to spread disinformation to Cersei. And to me, it just seemed way too convenient that Loras kills the Dragonstone, gets the hot boiling oil poured on him, and then he's near death. Like that seems way too convenient. So I think that Orain Waters is actually loyal to Cersei, and that it was a ploy by by these guys to throw Cersei off base. Let's see here. Sam asks, or says Darkstar will survive the encounter. Otherwise, what's the point? Well, here's the thing. I think the encounter with Darkstar, Obarasan, Balon Swan, and what's this dude's name? God damn it, Arya Hota. I think that encounter will be where we get the reveal of Arthur Dayne. I think that they're gonna see Arthur Dayne there. Excuse me, damn. Sorry about that. Balon Swan is going to threaten to tell Cersei, and then they're gonna have to kill him. Like, nope, this door, motherfucker. They ain't going back and telling her. Fuck that, you gotta die now. I'll say that you fought valiantly. Eyes on Ricky Hunt. Do you believe that Tina was inspired for Tyrells to bring down Cersei? Could there have been some deal between the Tyrells and the Fae? That is very possible. But I mean, here's the thing, right? So we haven't seen because all right, the thing about Cersei in her chapters with Tan and Merryweather is she doesn't really give anything away that could be used against her in terms of like saying anything particularly incriminating. Now, obviously, her, doing her sexual assault thing on Hannah Merriweather would be looked down upon by the faith, but she doesn't necessarily she doesn't necessarily say like, oh yeah, I poisoned Robert or I did this, that, and the third. So she doesn't actually like give up anything. You know, mm-mm. Yeah, she doesn't really give up anything that's necessarily super incriminating. Mm-mm. Alright. Man. Almost time for the DM Robitussin, nighttime Robitussin or whatever, which apparently has some kind of sleeping agent in it. Oh man, let's see. Sammy Sam says there's the theory that Darkstar is going to steal Dawn as it will play a part. Let's see. He was originally gonna George was originally gonna give it to Dane. I mean to Edric as Sword of the Morning. Uh, but since there's no 5 year gap, he decided to give that to Darkstar instead. Um, could be. I mean, listen, we're still trying to figure out what was it that Ned did that was so amazing that the Danes decided, that he needed to have a high place of honor, and that Edric Dane uh was going to be Edric Dane was kind of not necessarily that he was definitely named after Ned, but that he's nicknamed after Ned. And he obviously knows stories about Ned because he knows about him and John having the same wet nurse. I mean, and even the fact that he knows that Jon Snow exists, because I mean, like, why would Edward Dane even need to know about Jon Snow? Period. Like Jon Snow is Jon Snow is nobody to Edward Dane. So yeah, it's not even like what what's the purpose of Jon Snow even being mentioned to him? We got any more questions? Any more questions? Let's put this in chat. Other thing. Listen. And it's funny, Ion. I'll be honest with you. Like, yeah, man. Guys know me. I don't really like Ned Stark all that much. The more I go back and I'm like, man, people lionize Ned Stark. Um, yeah, people lionize Ned Stark, and I honestly, I don't see why. I mean, if you read into him, and really read into the stuff that he did, and just if you break down the stuff that he has done, like, yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, he kept John safe, right? He kept John safe, but at the same point, he also allowed the guy who he knows to be the king, um, to be disrespected in his home, for like 14 years. All right, let's see from Ricky Hunt. Will Edric Storm be taken back to Westeros and become the head of House Baratheon? Um, that's a good question. I mean, what's the funny thing about House Baratheon? Period. I'm wondering if this is going to be addressed in Fire and Blood. So House Baratheon apparently, at least from what we know so far, founded by Oris Baratheon. Oris Baratheon was supposedly the illegitimate half brother of Aegon the Conqueror. Um, Now the crazy thing about it is, if See, because like from what we know of the new, like the not new, but the different regions all have different names for the bastards who were born where they're born. We don't know what the name of someone who was supposed to be born on Dragonstone. If there was a bastard born on Dragonstone, like what is their name, right? We know Storm for the Stormlands, Rivers for Riverlands, Hill for the Westerlands, etc. But if Oris Baratheon was a Targaryen bastard, then the question for me remains: what does Baratheon? Because remember, the Valyrian language is different from what Westeros calls the common tongue. So I would guess that Baratheon would have to mean something. Uh, so yeah. So the question is, what does Baratheon mean? I don't know. It seems like an extra weird question to be bringing up, but I don't know if anybody's thought about that one. I've never heard anyone ask, like, okay, um, if he's a Targaryen bastard, who's born on Dragonstone or whatever was his name. Because remember, the Targaryens had been on Dragonstone for about 100 years plus at this point. So I really hope I get rid of this damn cold by the weekend. This is really starting to piss me off now. But Edric Storm being Baratheon, I mean, like, well, it's funny because he has a last name Storm. What if he just kept the name Storm and just claimed, oh, and seeing Sammy Sam here says Edric Storm, the new Storm King, right? He'd have to be legitimized by somebody to go by Edric Baratheon. But I mean, yeah, I don't think that he's just gonna disappear from the story. I think he's gonna come back at some point, and maybe he'll be the one to come back with Robert's Warhammer. We saw a replica Warhammer in the show from Gendry, but maybe maybe Edric comes back with Robert's Warhammer. That would be interesting. Yo, imagine, holy shit. Imagine. No. No, no, no. I was like, imagine if Edric comes back with like Aegon and Golden Company and be like, oh, it's the Targaryens, Baratheons were back together again. Nah, nah, nah. That's not happening. Because at this point, I'm pretty sure that Edric would know that Robert hated Targaryens, even though he was quarter Targaryen. All right. So when Devo breaks down the door, ask, what narrative choice do you disagree with, George? Um, narrative choice. Um, Something I disagree with George as far as the way he told the story. Too many fake outs. I mean, that's the only thing for me. Is like the like, yeah, you want to keep the mystery, but like I think either fake outs or stuff that's not necessarily um stuff that doesn't necessarily add to anything, at least that we can see so far. Like for example, oh man, story of Frog Prince. That was the dude's name. Shit. Uh, Not Tristan Martell. God damn, I'm just fucking losing it when it comes to remembering names. Why am I losing it when it comes to remembering the goddamn names? Not Tristan Martell. Um, Put them goddamn Ironwoods. Hold on. Let's look up Quentin. Quentin Martell. I don't understand how the hell because I'm always saying, hashtag Quentin lives. Um, but yeah, Quentin Martell. I don't understand what the deal is with his thing, and if it turns out to be a fake out, like he's not dead, it'll be one of those things where it's just like, oh, okay. And even if it turns out that he is dead, like, what was his point? Like, I don't. There are certain characters where I'm just like, what was their point? Brienne, like, I understand, we needed a perspective on the ground of what war torn Westeros looks like after the war is over. You know, um, but we might have been able to get that from someone else. You know, yeah. I mean, just the kind of thing where it's like side characters who it's like how do they add to the overall narrative? You know, other than them being a device to show us things about other characters, how do they add to the overall narrative? That's the only kind of issue I have. Don't get me wrong, I like the chapters, but then when I look at it in retrospect, like, okay, well, what did this do for the story? Like some of the stuff does seem like filler, but could be me. Let's see here. And yeah, Felicia Waters is for the Crown Lands. All right, so when Debo breaks down the door, asks, "Is it too late for the show?" I hope not. I hope not. I mean, I really don't. I really hope that it doesn't. That it's not one of those things where, um, like I hope they really take their time and do this next season right, man. Because there've been too many letdowns in the past couple of seasons. So I really hope they really say, okay, yeah, we're not gonna rush through anything. I understand it's 6 episodes, but just because it's only 6 episodes doesn't mean that you have to have leaps in logic where there's clearly things that don't make sense. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. All right, from Ricky Hunt, what was the point of the cannibal in the story? Um, I mm-mm. I'll be honest with you. Like, and see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's one of those things where you have things that happen in the stories that is like, okay, well, I understand that there are different things that you have to show, in order to fill out the world. But when you're talking about, bringing it towards the end game, it's like, well, how does this factor in to the end game? Does it factor in? Because if it doesn't factor in, and this is why, like, um, when people say, like, there were people who don't like that there were any changes from the book to the show. But I realize, yes, there have to be changes because of the fact that you don't like you don't want there to be just dead threads. You don't want it to be a thing where it's like, all right, we're telling a story, we get to this part, and then it's like, all right, but what did it matter to the whole narrative? You know. Now, unfortunately, there were characters that they liked that they didn't have the whole thing to, and they didn't know how to finish it off. So we got dead threads, or whatever may have you. So unfortunately, for some of the stuff, it didn't pan out as well as it should have. But um, yeah, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. Shout out to Alejandra 777555. Apparently, a lot of people here are liking Quentin. Didn't know Quentin Martell was such a popular character. Okay, so see, like, so all right, so for like example, for Felicia, the whole thing you were saying about the do's and don'ts about skin changing, right? With Hagen and all that. Now, that was good for the prologue because of the fact that here you have these rules that Bran Stark doesn't know about that Bran Stark is currently breaking. So I understand that, but you got to think about it. We have that one story. Its service to bring up things that will pay off later for Bran. They brought that part in, brought it out, done. It's not a continuing thing that takes us that sidetracks us off the narrative. So yeah, that's one of those things where it's like, all right, cool, I can deal with stuff like that, but thinking back on other things like Brienne roaming around Riverlands might have been a little bit too much of Brienne. I like Brienne as a character, but you had to roll around the Riverlands with Podrick for all this time. And it's like she bumps into the Hound, doesn't know it's the Hound. She hears all these tales about the Brotherhood without banners. And then at the end of it, she winds up running into the Brotherhood without banners. And, is basically told, you gotta either kill Jamie or I'm gonna hang you, Podrick and Sir Hyle Hunt. So we'll have to see where that leads. I mean, hopefully it leads somewhere nice. But yeah, man, it is what it is. Let's see here. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sam. Sammy San. GOT is an adaptation, but that is an excuse for poor writing. You are absolutely correct. Absolutely correct on that. Alright, so next question for Ricky Hunt. Have you taken the various which character quizzes on the internet, or which characters are you quizzes on the internet? If so, what characters you get? So yeah, I've taken a couple of the quizzes. So one I got Tywin, one I got Littlefinger, one I got Tyrion. I think that was it. I think I only took three of them. Those are the characters I got, and I'm happy with getting those characters. So, oh, shout out to Icy Spots. Been a while since I've seen you too, man. Where has everybody been? Everybody kind of bailing on me, man. Hey, Felicia, you can take over the stream if you want. Dude, I'm actually, actually a little longer than expected for myself today. I might have to call it a wrap in a few minutes. So got paperwork to do. I always got paperwork to do. There's always work to be done. All right, so question actually from Felicia: is it any character? Wait, what? Is there any show character you like? What the fuck? I'm guessing is there any character that you're asking if there's any character that I like more in the show than in the book? Um, man. Podrick? I mean, I didn't say much. Yeah, I mean, Ron. Only because we get to see more of them. Shout out to DJ. What's going on? Um, hmm. Character that I like in the show more books. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I like other than Braun and yeah, other than Braun and whatchamacallit, god damn it, want to help me out? I just lost the freaking name that quickly. Podrick. And I'm like, I can see his face right here. I can see his face, and I'm like he's got the dumb look on his face. Why can't I remember? Why can't I remember his name? Because he had the dumb look on his face. That's why I couldn't remember his name. All right. Let's see here. Tywin. I think I like Tywin more in the show than in the books, and it's mainly because of Charles Dance. Because I think Charles Dance did an excellent job playing Tywin. Shout out to Milk K. Milk K asked if you had to have lunch with one Targaryen, living or dead, who would it be? Um, let's see here. One Targaryen, living or dead. Might sound like a cheat because I mean, technically he's a Targaryen, but he doesn't carry the Targaryen name. That'd be my man Daemon Blackfire, Daemon the First of House Blackfire. That would be the one Targaryen that I want to talk to. The rest of them, kind of a little iffy for me. But yeah, Daemon Blackfire will be the Targaryen I won't want to talk to personally. Let's see. Note K actually says Magor. Man, are you crazy? You know that, right? You man. Mm-mm. Now, definitely, when Debo breaks down the door, uh, oh, Stannis. Yo, Stannis is a hard character for me to like, book or show, man. I'll be honest with you, man. I was never really a big Stannis supporter on any of it. So, I mean, I can't, I can't really. Mm. The Iron Throne is mine by rights. By rights, by rights, by rights. You know, all this, everything by right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Stop your complaining already, bro. We don't care. We just don't care anymore. Oh no, but I definitely would not want to talk to Magor. No, no, no. Magor was crazy. Magor was a goddamn lunatic. Nope, nah. There's no reason for me to talk to Magor about anything. And for some reason, AU Pack Mule wants to talk to Blood Raven. I don't know why you want to talk to that sneaky bastard. No, no, no. Blood Raven was a sneaky SOB, and you know, if it wasn't for the fact that he was scared of Daemon Blackfire, the name on the Iron Throne would have been Blackfire, not Targaryen. Scared, he had the Raven's teeth shoot down Daemon Blackfire while Daemon Blackfire was actually doing a noble gesture and, and helping Gwen Corbray off the battlefield. But that shows you what kind of man Blood Raven is. That really the guy you want to be talking with? That the guy you really want to have a conversation with? Same pack. Act the Black Dragon. Act the Black. Let's see here. When Debo breaks down the door, it says Daenerys does exact by rights. I'm not a big Daenerys fan either. You know, uh, yeah, I'm not a big, super Daenerys fan. And season 7, I was like, yo, she's really pissing me off with this whole, you know, tell John to come and bend the knee. I'll do this when you bend the knee. I'll be that when you bend the knee. Like, yo, come on, man, stop it, stop it. You know, oh, Jon Snow, I believe that the White Walkers are real. I believe that the first men fought with children of the forest. I believe all of it. I will come and help you to fight against the greatest threat to mankind. When you bend the knee, you know what? Fuck you, Daenerys. Oh, so Felicia asked, who do you want to see sit the Iron Throne, regardless of bloodline? Oh, Felicia, you obviously do not know me well, huh? Pardon me for one moment while I show you exactly who I would want to sit the Iron Throne, regardless of bloodline. Here, folks, is a man who I think, because of his cunning, because of his determination, because of his sheer will, not only will, but should sit the Iron Throne for a little bit, not forever. Oh man. Yeah, so Ricky said it says right here is like Blood Raven shot Daemon's sons and then shot Daemon while he was cradling his dying son. But remember, that also but that came from, once Gwen Corbray was being taken off the battlefield, well no, because Gwen Corbray got taken off the battlefield and Blood Raven shot down Daemon, Blackfire, and Aegon. Yeah, shot down Daemon, Blackfire, and Aegon. And then when Aemon went and picked up the sword, he shot him down. But he actually shot down Daemon while Daemon was cradling Gwen Corbray just before they took him off the battlefield. So Blood Raven is a fuckboy. Oh man, that's messed up, man. Yeah, that's messed up. Oh, when Debo breaks down the door, says Littlefinger looks like the damn 40-year-old version. Oh man, damn. But it's funny though because again, here we have a character who in the books is very well liked, so no one suspects him of anything, and in the show he is constantly antagonizing people, and I'm just like, why in the world is like, dude? If you're trying to gain the Iron Throne, why are you doing things to piss off people and ensure that they might want to kill you? But show logic for you. Show logic equals no logic. And yeah, all right. So back to the whole. I see someone mentioned here about the John. Oh yeah, so yeah, he says when Devil breaks down a door, says that Daenerys pissed me the hell off, and D&D trying to convince the audience that John bending the knee was gratifying. Yeah, you know what's crazy? Because I remember watching episode 6 when John wakes up and he's up there, telling like, he sees the scars or whatever, and he, is apologizing for her losing Viserion, and then dude he calls her Danny, and I'm just like, wait, what? And it was like some out of the blue shit. I'm like, yo, hold on. these two had just finished not being cool for like super long, and now all of a sudden he's calling her pet names. And not only is he calling her pet names, he just so happens to hit on the pet name that was said to her by the brother that she hated. Yo, I seen that. I was like, oh nah, man, these dudes. All of a sudden, ah, thank you, Danny. What? Thank you, Nope, 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 nope. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, House Corbray. House Corbray is pretty dope, except for the fact that Lynn Corbray is a damn pedophile. Like, yo, man, nah, we don't need no pedophile Corbrays. You know, it's funny. So I did a debate last week on Rora's channel, me versus Kevin from Bat Productions, and it was Damon Blackfire versus Sir Arthur Dane, and I was taking up the cause of Damon Blackfire. He took up the cause of Arthur Dane, and you know we talked about like I mentioned the whole thing that uh that Blackfire did a duel with Gwen Corbray for like an hour, and Kevin really tried to hit me with some shit. He really tried to tried to hit me with some crazy shit. He was like, well, yeah, if he dueled with this dude for an hour, then that means he wasn't really that great of a warrior, was he? And I'm just like, that was a nice little jab there, but I'm like, the Corbrays are known to be like, some of the dopest swordsmen, period. So I mean, like, Gwen Corbray probably was cutting nine out of every 10 men down on a regular basis. So, and Lynn Corbray, known to also be, another fearsome warrior. Um, so it's just one of those things where, like, when you go throughout the history of the Corbrays, the Corbrays are just chopping people down. What they do. Mm-mm-mm. Let's look at some historical members of House Corbray. So you had Sir Corwin Corbray, Andal Invader. You had King Kyle Corbray, King of the Fingers. So Jamie Corbray, one of the possible slayers of King Robar voiced second. Wayne Corbray, Master at Arms for House Targaryen, who trained Maegor. Maegor the Cruel, and we know how nice Maegor the Cruel was. Sorry, is that no, not Gwen? It's a Gawain. Corwin Corbray, Regent of Aegon III, and of course, Gwen Corbray, Knight of the King's Guard. So Let's see. Who is current Lord of House Corbett? Mm, So, current Lord of House Corbett seems to be Lionel Corbett. All right, so let's see what when D Will breaks down the door. Now, yeah, I'm probably gonna end it like right after this because yeah, man, wow, I've been how long have I been going on for now? Over 2 hours, 2.5 hours almost. All right, so it says I'm not done roasting the show because what's up with Stone Face Daenerys as Viserion gets bodied? She's worried about John, who's getting cooked. Yo, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, man. When Daenerys, like when Viserion gets hit with the super javelin from the Night King, I was like, yo, um, like the look on her face, and I mean, I understand, right? Um, they definitely have to act against, nothing. You know, you have, these people who they have to act against literally nothing. But I would imagine, I mean, but then again, yo, man, listen, I gotta blame that director. That's the same director from Terminator Genesis. So do I have to say any more? You know, yeah, that whole episode was a mess. That whole episode was a mess. I mean, it's funny though because, like, all right, so like the first half of the episode was actually pretty decent. Now, mind you, yes, the plan was stupid. The plan was absolutely the most stupid thing possible because why in the world is like are we gonna try to go to capture a white to bring it back? You know, but the interactions between the characters were cool. But yeah, too many red shirts. And the thing about it is, you can make red shirts that aren't just red shirts because they did that with Hardhome. You got the one wildling Carsey who, she was in that one episode, but because they gave her dialogue and because they gave her things to do, she felt almost like a fully fleshed out character. So, it can be done where you have characters who die who aren't just 100% redshirted, you know, or in this case, skin shirted. And when I say skin, I mean, animal skin. I don't know, man. Ricky Hunt says, too bad it wasn't Drogon that went down. You're cruel, man. You're very, very cruel. But yeah, look, I'm actually gonna end this one. It's been over 2.5 hours. I still got paperwork to do. I'm sitting here messing around like I don't have things that I actually need to do. But look, I do thank everyone who stuck it out with me tonight. As I ramble on, I love doing this with you guys. So I will be back, of course, next Thursday or sometime in a week, but most likely it'll be next Thursday. So I'm trying to keep it on schedule. All right. So yeah, shout out to everyone who came to watch me tonight live. Shout out to the 5 or 6 people who will check this out later. And I know it's maybe like 20 people who will watch it later. But shout out to all those too, man. Yeah, I'm not sure what character I'm doing next week. I'm gonna get around to Stannis Baratheon sooner or later. And it's funny because I got a couple of people. I got my man James Michelle from JBTV and also Tony Teflon who want to talk about Stannis. I think I'm gonna do a great Stannis debate. So I might need somebody to help either moderate that or be on opposing side for the Stannis debate because I'll be honest, like I said, I'm not a big Stannis fan, so I don't know. I don't know what character I'm doing next week yet. You guys already know the deal. Just in the comments after the video's over, leave me what character you want to see me talk about, and of course, more questions will be answered and interactions with chat because that's what I love doing. So, yeah, as I said before, thank you to everybody who watched live. Thank you to all those who will watch later. Next week, same back time, same back channel. Yeah, sorry, Pamela, I'm out now. It's over. I'm not staying around for. Let's see here. Might as well do cover, maybe. I might. We'll see what happens. So, yeah, look, you guys already know the deal. Rate, comment, subscribe, share. Tell your friends to come back for more. That has been my time. And this is Don Willie saying, follow the Harris. I will see you guys next week.